Why you should build muscle, whether you're young, old, in between, a man or a woman, or whatever. It's not just about the aesthetics either. Okay, well, maybe just a little bit about being jacked, but why it's really important for you to build muscle right now. Let's do it. Number one, contrary to popular myths, muscles aren't just supposed to make us look good. They are actually a crucial organ of the body, the biggest organ, I might add. That other myth that's going around is that skin is the largest organ of the body. No, it's muscle. Skeletal muscle is way bigger than the skin. Skeletal muscle serves a crucial purpose, and the clue is in the name, skeletal. Skeleton. It moves the skeleton, allowing us to move our bodies. Muscles are connected to our bones via tendons, and they move those bones. However, now you're thinking about your arms and your legs moving, aren't you? But there's more to it than that. You wouldn't even be able to breathe without skeletal muscle. You wouldn't be able to slouch in a chair without it either. It's involved in posture as well as movement. So why should you build muscle? To ensure you're not a dead amorphous blob. Number two, muscle builds by being stimulated. So it gets used. Use wakes it up from its slumber, and it grows to enable you to do that movement again more easily. You've heard of the old adage, use it or lose it, right? The body is so adaptable that this use it or lose it principle happens pretty quickly. I used to do about 300 plus push-ups a week. I moved to another gym where they don't get me to do so many push-ups between everything else. And this morning I did 20 in a row. I was doing 40 in a row just a few weeks ago. And then I needed a break. And in as little as 3 weeks, my capacity to do push-ups had gone downhill considerably. So we need regular stimulus of each muscle, right? Use it or lose it. If you keep working out, keep stimulating that muscle, all good. All good until something happens, like life happens. You get sick, you can't train for 2 weeks or worse. You get really sick and are in bed for 2 weeks. You get an injury so that you can't physically move a part of your body for a few months. You break a bone and it's in a cast. This is when we rapidly lose muscle, and the older you are, the more rapid this muscle loss is. This is why a significant amount of people over the age of 60, in fact, the majority of people over the age of 60, never recover from a broken hip, and they die within a year. The more muscle you build, the more muscle you have, the more you can withstand these periods of muscle loss without it literally killing you. Number three, related to that last point, but I did want to separate this out because it's a big point to make. You are more likely to survive cancer the more muscle you have. Studies have shown that cancer patients with low muscle mass experience more complications, longer hospital stays, and lower survival rates. Got some shocking information for you now. In just 3 days in a hospital bed, an elderly patient can lose more than 1 kilogram of muscle. 3 days. Over a 10-day hospital stay, a healthy adult can lose over 5% of their muscle mass. A 10% loss of muscle leads to impaired immunity and increased risk of infection. A 20% loss of muscle leads to weakness and slowed healing. A 30% loss of muscle leads to an inability to sit up. A 40% loss of muscle, it's fatal. Number four, more muscle increases your metabolic rate, improving your lean body mass, which promotes blood sugar control. Muscle is our biggest store of glucose. The liver is the other store, and our muscles are way bigger than the liver. The more muscle you build, the better your metabolism will be, the less likely you are to get diabetes. We can store about 500 grams of carbohydrates in the form of glycogen in our muscles for immediate use by those muscles. In other words, the fuel for that muscle and for that muscle's movement is right there in the muscle itself. It doesn't need to be liberated into the bloodstream and deliver it to the muscle. It's already there, making it very efficient fuel for the muscles. We can store about 130 grams of carbohydrates stored in the form of glucose in our liver. This needs to be mobilized into the blood and then delivered where it needs to be in the body, making it a less efficient method of fueling. So the more muscle you have, the bigger your stores of glycogen in them, the less likely the carbs you eat will be turned into fat stores. So your muscle protects your metabolic health, which in turn protects you from all of the major diseases. Number five, muscle is an endocrine organ, a secretory organ. It secretes hormones, peptides, myokines that communicate with other organs of the body. Now, not much is known about this in human beings at present. It was only discovered about 5 years ago. Studies are underway to find out much more about this. What we know so far is that the energy balance model doesn't explain why we can gain muscle whilst losing fat, whilst being in a calorie balance or even slight surplus. The energy balance model suggests that the fat stores would never be used in this case, but they are. So the muscle is secreting something to signal to the fat stores to release their fuel. Personally, as a postmenopausal symptom-free woman, I'm experiencing the effects of exercise producing estradiol. We know that fat, skin, liver, breasts, brain, and adrenal glands produce estradiol as well as the ovaries and the testes. The end of your ovaries isn't the end of our estrogen, ladies. Studies have shown that high-intensity exercise especially produces more estradiol in females, perhaps through the muscle secreting something to signal to the fat, or perhaps the muscle too secretes estradiol. We don't know that yet. We just know that it happens, right? Muscle mass affects testosterone levels in both men and women. So even though testosterone is seen as a male hormone, all human beings, including women, have more testosterone than any other hormone. It's just that men have even more than women. Testosterone regulates our moods, libido. It is necessary for new blood cells too. It is also necessary for building muscle. So there seems to be a circular effect going on here. But as I said, little yet is known about the endocrine aspects of muscle. Muscle also has a profound effect on the immune system. Muscles store vital amino acids that are used by the body during trauma or infection. With a greater pool of amino acids to draw on, your body can mount a more effective response. Muscles store precursor cells for the immune system. They migrate from the muscles when needed and develop into functional T cells. In studies, mice with more muscle mass were better able to cope with chronic infections. This is yet to be shown in humans. It's still early days in this ongoing research. Muscles produce glutamine, which fuels immune cells. Interleukin-6 can be a pro-inflammatory or anti-inflammatory cytokine, depending on which tissue releases it, and muscle releases the anti-inflammatory kind, which regulates the function of immune cells after tissue injury and aids in the healing process. The muscle produces myokines during exercise, which helps perform the regulation of immunometabolism, thanks to their ability to induce significant metabolic, energetic, and hormonal changes. Glutamine is the most abundant amino acid in the body, and it plays a pivotal role in the function of several organs and cells, such as kidneys, intestines, liver, heart, neurons, leukocytes, and white adipose tissue. Type 1 slow twitch muscle fibers produce the most glutamine. Glutamine levels increase after intense short-term exercise, and it drops after intense prolonged exercise. Number 6. Okay, let's get out of the weeds and into an easier to understand reason. Strength. When you build muscle, you also build strength. Sure, you can adapt your training to be predominantly hypertrophy, so the muscle size building kind of training, but you will still build strength as a result. Muscle strengthening activities are associated with nearly a 10 to 17% less risk of cardiovascular disease, cancer, diabetes, lung cancer, and all-cause mortality. These benefits increase the older you get too. You need strength to be able to be a fully functioning human being that can move around, lift things up, catch yourself when you fall, cling onto a cliff edge by your fingers and pull yourself up to save your life. Recently, a study showed that those who survived 100 years, centenarians, needed less hospital care at any given age than their shorter-lived contemporaries. So you don't just live longer with more strength, you live better. Hand grip strength is widely used as a measure of total body strength, and it's correlated with longevity and good health. Hand grip strength declines at an approximate annual rate of 1% after midlife, and it's a good biomarker of aging. In a study, higher hand grip strength and daily hours in physical activity were observed for increased longevity. How old your mother lives too also has a correlation, but not your father for some reason. Number 7. Having more muscle mass reduces the risk of injury, which becomes more of a bigger deal the older that you are. The same things that grow muscle also strengthen our bones. We also have more resilience if we fall, so the added strength to withstand impacts that muscle gives is significant. I've noticed this personally. Since I've been regularly kickboxing over the last 7 years, I often get taken down. My legs swipe from underneath me. Don't worry, I do it to them more than they do it to me. But sure, I'm always on gym mats when this happens, but I have noticed that something that would have really hurt me years ago, bruised me, caused ongoing pain, perhaps limp for a few days, that kind of thing. I just get up from it. It's not an issue. No pain, nothing. perhaps a little bruised ego, but arguably that's a good thing and it makes for a different kind of strength training, strength of the spirit. Number 8, generally improves mental health. It boosts self-confidence, improves your body image and your mood. Studies have shown that muscle strength has a positive effect on reducing depression symptoms. The chemicals that muscles secrete when muscles contract, myokines, have been dubbed hope molecules. These small proteins travel to the brain, cross the blood-brain barrier, and act as an antidepressant. They improve our mood, our ability to learn, our capacity to move, and they protect the brain from the negative effects of aging. However, it can lead to body dysmorphia, especially at lower body fat percentages, it seems, where you don't see your body as it actually is anymore. It can lead to a preoccupation with increasing muscle and lowering fat. Now, my personal take on this, and this is just my opinion from what I've experienced in this area, the reasons you're building muscle seems to be the most important. If you're doing it for health, because you absolutely love doing a particular sport, for the community around it, then I haven't seen these issues happen. However, when someone does it just to look good for aesthetic reasons, then yes, it does seem to be more prominent for people like that. So chasing a certain look seems to stop you from seeing it when you get there. Number 9. More muscle reduces inflammation. You might know by now that there's good inflammation and there's bad inflammation. The bad kind is chronic inflammation, and we don't want that. Lots of processes are taking place throughout the human body during exercise, and it's difficult to tease apart which systems and cells are doing what inside an active person. So these scientists, they engineered muscle cells in a petri dish, and they discovered that the muscle cells themselves were capable of taking anti-inflammatory actions all by themselves. Chronic inflammatory diseases include muscle atrophy, so they applied it to the muscle cells in a petri dish, and when the muscle cells were exercised, they countered the pro-inflammatory signaling all by themselves. The exercising muscles didn't atrophy when bombarded with interferon gamma, whereas the non-exercised muscles in that petri dish atrophied. Wild, huh? And number 10, okay, is the aesthetics. But seriously, everyone looks better jacked. It's not just about being jacked though, because take a look at the unhealthily jacked on their steroids and all kinds of things that they're shooting up. They don't look well, covered in acne. However, health, true health, it shows. It shows in the skin, it shows in the eyes, in the posture, the way you hold yourself, in everything. Muscle mass is an important part of great health. I believe we'll be learning so much more about muscle and its importance in the years to come. Would you like me to help you on your healthy aging journey? I've set up an app. It's called Aging Disgracefully, where we continue to do the things we love for many years to come, being age inappropriate and all of that kind of thing. In there, I deliver short, sweet lessons to a path to great health and aging that give you the most bang for your buck, or your health for your efforts, to help you to make the most of the rest of your life. If you'd like to join us, you can find a link in the description box and in the comments below. It's better to burn out than to fade away. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.